Hey everybody, Mark over here at Twangers Turntable. Cheers everyone, hope you're all doing well. Jumping on a thread that was started a while back here. Let me back up a second. To everybody who's ever subscribed or visited my channel, I want to give a big thank you and a shout out to all of you. I'm not going to shout out all your names, obviously. There's far too many to do that, but it's just I don't get a chance to do videos very often, or at least as often as I was doing at some point. But many of you continue to come by and watch my content and support me, and that's huge. I mean, as I was saying in my last video, when I started this channel, I could not fathom that kind of thing happening. It was just, as my buddy George said, you know, if I thought some of my friends or family might see it, that was great. But essentially, I was just doing it to share my love of this hobby, this passion I have for my vinyl records primarily, but I enjoy other formats for sure. So thank you. I really do appreciate that. So onward we go. So responding to a thread started by my buddy Steve over at A is for Alice, B is for Bob, and C is for just a cool dude. Honestly, he's been very supportive to me almost from the get-go. At least, you know, he was away for a while and then came back, and I like to think that I've reciprocated that. I do really like Steve and hope to meet him someday. I just finished watching his video with his VCLT. Great guy. Many great people I've met in the VC, not in person, but through these avenues that we do have at our the resources we have. You know, it's just through commenting and the only social media I do, if you want to call it that, I guess that's what it is. I don't do the Instagram and all that, and so it is what it is. I do appreciate it. So he started a thread for another buddy of ours in the vinyl community, Scott over at No Solution, and so I wanted to jump on that, as I mentioned also in my other video, to just to show support of each other, and that's kind of what we do. And if we can show records while we're doing it, to me, that's a bonus, right? And I hope to get on here and do some other videos, like I said, about showing some of the stuff I picked up recently. I hope to do that today. So I'll bang this out rather quickly. So let's get to it. So essentially what the thread was, I should have pulled it up here, talk about not being prepared. There it is here on Steve's channel, episode 73. I'll leave a link below, VC thread and a tribute to Scott at No Solution. Let's get physical, hashtag. So let's get physical. So I've pulled out just a few records here that are in regards to something physical or working, and I don't know if very many of them will be quite as, I don't know, the same type of theme that some of the others have been, but they are of that theme of working. And the first one that come to mind, or at least one of the first ones, I'll show you the first one that came to mind as well, but one of the first ones I remember, and I don't know, but I think Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, is originally from Michigan or still resides in Michigan. I don't know. Something tells me it's Wisconsin or Michigan. But I'm pretty sure he resided in Michigan at one time, because I think there was some common theme he had with Trevor and Marsha P. While they were doing the Sunday Night Vinyl Confessions. But anyway, from Michigan, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Stranger in Town. And of course, as I alluded to, there's not many songs that represent working and feeling like that's all you're doing and you want to break free from that. Yeah, Feel Like a Number. I mean, just a classic tune, and has always, well, from the time it came out, thanks to my older siblings and friends and whatnot, it's always been something that's been in my life. And I just love this entire album. In fact, one of the most popular tracks on here, I would have to say, is not necessarily one that I'm all that fond of. It's a good track, old time rock and roll. But every other track on here, I think, is a killer. And yeah, let me show you the actual vinyl as well, because I just love the label on this one. Those who are familiar with it will know what I mean, but it's just that label, the Silver Bullet Band. And it's got a little bit of dust on there, so hopefully it's not too bad to see. But the Silver Bullet and the ladies there, you know, so kind of fits in with that theme a little bit. But a great record. And Bob Seger, the further back you go with Bob Seger, in my opinion, the better it is. It really dropped off for me in the 80s. I mean, he still had some stellar tracks. I mean, it's Bob Seger. I don't know if there are any bad ones, at least that I'm familiar with, but certainly the sweet spot for Bob Seger to me is his early years in the late 60s and into the 70s. Another one that came to mind, one of those first ones, was off the soundtrack for Heavy Metal. I know Scott will like this, or I don't know if Scott will like this, but I'm sure he's seen the film very many times. And I know my older brother was a huge fan of these magazines, heavy metal magazines. He had them all the time, all over the place. So by default, I was, by proxy, I guess, I was quite familiar with them. But it's Working in a Coal Mine by Devo on here. Most people who are familiar with this album would be familiar with that tune. But yeah, great track by Devo. I mean, to those who like it, I guess, not so great if it's not your thing. Inner sleeves are pretty standard, generic, I guess, just the lyrics and not much art on those. It's also got the great version of Mob Rules on here. Well, I don't know. Again, very subjective. It's just a different version than the track on the album, Mob Rules. Different recording altogether. Recorded at John Lennon's old place. But yeah, that's one that came to mind almost right away. And Heavy Metal Records, or Heavy Metal Record. I should show you the vinyl on here. I like the labels on this one too. Sometimes minimal, lesser is better. Less is better for me. I just like that simple kind of label sometimes. It's just got the title of the album and very minimal artwork. Although having said that, like I just said, I do like that Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band label on that last record. So that's the second one that came to mind. And I'm going to pull up the very first one that actually did come to mind for me. And I'll show you that one. And it's the debut by Rush with John Rutsey on drums. This is before Neil, the Professor. But is there a better song, or at least for me, one that comes to mind immediately is Working Man. That's what I am. That's why they call me the Working Man. Just a fantastic tune and just so heavy. I mean, 1974, it's very, I don't know how well it's aged to people outside of hard rock and the genre of that period. For me, I can put this on and it hasn't aged at all. It's still relevant today, the entire record. John Rutsey, God love him, rest in peace. He's certainly not a Neil Peart type of drummer. He was more straightforward 4/4 rock, but heavy, and Rush never sounded like that way again after that. For better or worse, depends what side of the fence you're on. I know my buddy Steve, I was just talking about, I believe he's been on record as saying that is his favorite Rush album, and I can understand that. For me, it's right up there as one of the best as well. But yeah, Working Man. So next one, this one has got nothing to do with any lyrical content or song titles. I just always love this album cover and the inside artwork. I'll show you as well. But it's Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush, What's Next? This one was 1976, I believe it was. Let me refresh my noggin here. No, it wasn't. It was 1979. See, Scott, I just watched your video and you say how you get on here when the camera's rolling and your brain goes blank. That happens to all of us, buddy. But yeah, I just like the what's the word I'm looking for? The content, oh Jesus. It's basically these guys, and me and my buddies when we were teenagers, this is one of our primary passions, was working on cars and doing stuff like that. In fact, the first engine I ever rebuilt was out of my 78 Pontiac Trans Am 400 big block. To varying degrees of success with that, but it's just something we always love doing. And of course the boys all got the wrenches in their hand, and if you look closely at Frank Marino's t-shirt, that's awesome. I don't know if you can read that. If you can't read it, I'll spell it out for you. Injection's nice, but I'd rather be blown. You get the reference. The subject matter, that's the words I was looking for. The subject matter on here is all about work. I mean, come on. And Frank Marino, for those uninitiated, just a phenomenal guitar player. Back in the day, it was often said he was the second coming of Jimi Hendrix, and rightfully so. I don't know if he ever got his dues, but certainly in Canada, he's one of a handful of standout musicians that I think maybe here get their due. I don't know if they do outside of that genre either. So it's hard for me to say. I'm biased. And then, of course, another one that came to mind. These all came to mind. That's why I pulled them. But Skynyrd, Working for MCA. And this is off their second album, Second Helping. Classic rebellious song, Working for MCA, talking about the big wigs at the record label, and, basically all they care about is get that next record out so we can make some money. But it's on that classic Rainbow label, MCA Records. Great record. If you like Skynyrd, to me it's a must-have. I've always dug Skynyrd. I've got their box set that I bought several years ago on cassette. I think probably around 1990 or so, 91. And I've got a couple of their albums, but I've always dug Skynyrd. It seems to be a take it or leave it type thing, like most music is. So whatever floats your boat, right? So. Next up, I chose Primus, and it's Frizzy Fry. Great record. I've always dug Les Claypool and all his various projects. But of course, on here you've got John the Fisherman. And the reason I picked that is twofold. Anybody who is a fisherman or has been a fisherman or fishing was how they made their living, knows how hard of a job that can be. And I say that comes honestly to me because my entire family on my mom's side were historically fishermen right back to when they were in Ireland. And so my grandfather and my uncles and the whole family were either lobster fishermen, mackerel, tuna, just very hard workers. And it came honestly, I have very fond memories of sitting in the barn in the back when my grandfather's boat was up on the they'd bring them in for the winter and set them in the backyard and paint them and maintain them, and we'd be sitting in the barn, and he'd be tying ropes for his repairing his nets and making lobster traps and stuff like that. And so fisherman is a very honest way to make a living, and my family was deeply entrenched in that. So John the Fisherman, as far as working, being very physical. And then of course this one came to mind as well. As I'm repeating myself, these all came to mind. I'm gonna have a drink here before I try to rush through this too quickly. Just drinking coffee though, don't worry, there's nothing too strong in there. Caffeine. So the self-titled 1983 album from Genesis. Get my years all mixed up here. 1983. Genesis. I know this takes a lot of shit from certain fans. Maybe it's the hardcore Genesis fans, but I like it. I have always liked it. From the time it came out, it's been one of my favorites. And of course, it's just a job to do. Now, I don't know if this one has aged quite well. Certainly for the politically correct, it probably has not. But Jesus Christ, I mean, they're just songs. Some people get all bent out of shape about certain things, but I don't know. Whatever, to each their own. Freedom of speech, freedom. I mean, you have your opinion, I have mine, and we like what we like. But just a job to do was one that came to mind right away. And of course, being from where I am from, home by the sea and second home by the sea, have always been very, very fond tunes for me. But the whole record, I like the whole record. I mean, I know there's some questionable lyrics or whatever if you start to pick that apart. But I was just saying to my buddy Morton there that I don't delve too deeply into the meanings of lyrics or whatever. It's not something that means a hell of a lot to me. I like the music and the lyrics. I can take it or leave it, and half the time I don't even know what they're saying anyway, so who cares? So to wrap it all up, it's just kind of an honorable mention. There's nothing so much about working or being physical on here. Well, arguably, I guess you could debate that there's certain things that could be taken as physical. But I chose this to close it all up as an honorable mention, if nothing else. This is an OG of GNR Lies, and it's got the banned subject matter on it. This is what they refer to when they're talking about banned. It's not the imagery, although there is a UK pressing of this that does have some imagery that was banned, and this is the Canadian copy, so that's not it, but it does have the wording that was censored, not banned. I guess I should use the word censored. Later copies of this, if you look down in the corner there where it says wife beating has been around for 10,000 years. Come on, that's pretty awful. So that was replaced with just the words lies, lies, lies. And I think there was something else on here too, but I don't remember. Again, not something I pay a lot of mind about. So that's it. I guess I'll put those away after. That's my response to this thread. Sorry it took so long to get on this, Steve, Scott. I hope I met the criteria, or at least in the wheelhouse of what it was meant to be. There's not a whole lot I can show that would be all that racy, and sorry about the noise there. I probably wouldn't do it anyway. It's just I do expect my grandsons will see these videos, or from time to time they do. So that's my reasoning. So hopefully you've enjoyed it nonetheless. I enjoyed watching your guys' videos. As I've said before, I enjoy all of your guys' content when I get a chance to see it. And it's fun to do, to show some records and be part of this. So I'll leave it at that until I get a next video up here. Who knows when that'll be, but hopefully not too long. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, the upcoming weekend here. Hopefully you've got some good plans, whatever you do. Have a good time, be safe, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one here at Twanger's Turntable. Take care, everybody. Cheers.